Prasad, please, can you just give us permission for recording it on my system?
Okay. So basically, I don't want to suggest the recordings for anybody, because if you have recording, you will be not concentrating on my class. Basically, I have a record. I can hear anytime at any requirement. So I don't want to hear the class like this.
Oh, no. For me, just in case I have had to step out because I have a child, right? During that course of stepping out for a few minutes. You know, like yesterday was an example. I missed a little bit in between.
Yeah, I don't want any explanation here. Actually, just I'm telling you my suggestion. That's it. Okay, no problem. Preeti, I'm giving you organizer permission. Now you are also so you can start recording option in your GoToMeeting window, right?
Yes.
So click on this. It will automatically starts. Okay.
Good to go.
So, any doubts up to yesterday's data warehousing concepts class?
You know, the question I have is, you know, we have these two approaches, Kimball's approach and the InMonths, right? Many of the industries, do they use particularly a particular, you know, approach, or is it mostly InMonths? I know, you know, mostly InMonths.
In what type of situation you are asking? Actually, I didn't get you clearly.
I mean, we have two people who are so to say the
yeah, of course, WH InMonth and right.
So now, you know, each of them have their own approaches, right, towards tackling.
Yeah, of course. WH InMonth's definition is only clear. There is a clear clarity for the data warehousing. So he provided 4 different types of characteristics. So any database fulfills these 4 characteristics, then only it's a data warehouse. Otherwise, it's not a data warehouse. That is the clarity here. But some other data definition, according to him, the data warehouse is specially designed for analyzing purpose, not to perform transactional processing. So, of course, we have already OLTP database. Instead of this, we are developing OLAP. The purpose of developing OLAP is always to analyze the database, right?
Yeah.
So, but what type of information if you store, what type of data it provides, then only we can consider this as a data warehouse, this as a transactional database, likewise. So there is no clarity this type of database. So that is the reason why this is not the popular definition. Only WH InMonth's definition is only popular. So that's the thing what I'm saying.
Okay.
So most of the people follows only this popular definition. So that's it.
Okay.
And also the schema is like Snowflake schema and then star schema. It like as far as I know, I think we mostly use a star schema, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So actually, what I'm saying is OLTP database is normalized database. OLAP is doing normalized database. So difference between star schema and Snowflake star schema means, you know, we are implementing some normalization concept on the star schema. If you implement this, then it will be a Snowflake star schema.
Okay.
When you implement the normalized concept on the star schema, if you find any unchanged data from the source database, then definitely we have to separate this unchanged data from the table and create it as a new table, which is a master dimension table in the Snowflake star schema, right? If you use this, we reduce the redundancy and we reduce the allocation memory. So basically, if you use only star schema, we are storing most number of records, completely duplicate information. So what I'm saying is, if you have 100 columns in the source database, from these 100 columns, whatever the single column is updated, then the entire record is captured by data warehouse. The entire record means the next remaining 99 columns should be same values, right? So same values means duplicate information. So whatever it is, so if you change only one field of the source database table, then we have to get entire record and insert as a new record in the data warehouse. So here the duplication is more in the data warehouse level. So that's the reason why we cannot denormalize we cannot normalize the data warehouse. But hopefully what I'm saying is, in case in any reasons, if you find some different columns doesn't change in the database level or OLTP source level, then we have to extract these columns from the table and create it as a new table. This table is treated as a master dimension table in the data warehouse, dimensional modeling. From this master dimension table, we use foreign key relation to dimension table. So this records is associated with the dimension table, all the historical records, right? So based on this, we definitely reduce the redundancy, and we definitely reduce the allocating more memory, so wastage of memory. So that is the thing here, the importance of the Snowflake star schema instead of star schema. Okay. So, but basically you don't know which column is updated at any time. Okay, which column doesn't update in at any time. So that is the reason why most of the projects uses only star schema, 90% of the projects. So how can you know this column doesn't change at anywhere? How can you know this? This particular column doesn't change anywhere. So can you know this?
No.
We don't know.
No.
We sometimes, for example, customer name. So whatever, when you born, definitely our parents is assigned one name for us, right? So till death, most of the people continues the same name. Maybe after some getting some knowledge, after maturing, so my name is not good. I want to change my name. Something. Maybe somebody wants to change their name. So we can't assume this. Most of the people, what type of information at any time, at any situation, at any kind of scenario, maybe definitely whatever the column or data, so definitely we can change, right?
Yeah.
That is the reason why we can't try to get which column is unchanged column, which column is changed column. So what are the columns here? Can we try to extract these columns? This type of scenario most probably in rare cases only, 5 to 10% cases only we can consider. Otherwise, mostly we can consider only star schema. Understand?
Yeah. So when it comes down from source, when we are extracting, when we're doing delta extraction, so I know we have like in the what do you say? Okay, so we have that column, right? The flag column which says new.
Yeah.
So how does that? I mean, what is the whole logic behind that flag column? Like, how does
You have to implement the logic through Informatica. So
Okay.
Informatica is responsible for everything. So
Okay.
the Informatica tool extracts the data and transform it into required warehouse format and load it into data warehouse. Entire thing is responsible for Informatica only. Okay. So without any other tool, directly the data is not jumped from migrating from source one database to another database, right?
Right.
So right, that's the
Okay,
thing.
got it.
Any more?
No.
Okay. The first thing, actually, the Informatica software is available in two different parts. Okay. So two different parts. One is server and another one is client. In the real-time scenario, server is installed in one location, which is server system. From this server, the client machine is connected with the server, and each and every client machine having client software. From this, the installed server, we created some different type of repositories. So from these repositories, we associate with several client machines. So every person is working through only client, but the background work completely happens in only server side. Okay, so that is the different concept. You need to know the so actually here Informatica client machine, there are also different types of tools available. So are you able to see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so different types of tools are completely repository manager, Power Center designer, Power Center workflow manager, and Power Center monitor. These are the 4 different types of tools for Informatica client. So we have to work on these 4 tools only. So this is the active window. This is repository manager. R. Okay, so repository manager completely. This is for administration purpose. In the repository manager, we configure the repositories. That means if you create one repository in the server level, administration console level, so that particular repository we have to associate in the repositories of the client software. So then only we can work on this repository. Okay, so here the folder management is also available. There is some different kind of permissions to access the Informatica repository for different kind of people. So if you are a developer, you have to get one folder access. You can work on this folder at any time, at anywhere. So this type of complete service happened by the Informatica repository manager only. This repository manager tool handled by the Informatica administrators. So we are the developers. So no need to work on this. Just this is the so and so tool. This is that's what I'm saying here. So I created one different folder for us. So that is 10 p.m. batch. Okay, Indian time. Okay, so 10 p.m. batch. So in this folder we are working from today onwards. Okay. So from today, this is the Power Center designer. Okay, so Power Center designer is responsible to extract the data from source database and create the mapping. In this mapping, we have to develop complete logic to transform the information to required warehouse format, and finally we can load the data into target database. So this is the complete mapping process. The entire thing has done only in Informatica Power Center designer. So Power Center designer is only works on metadata, not on data. So here metadata is different, data is different. So data means information. Metadata means data about data. For example, we have one table in the database level. The table name is EMP. In this table we have different types of columns. Column name EMP number, E name, job, some salary, join date, commission, department, all these are different types of column names. So here, when you insert the number of employees information, these are all records. Okay. So the structure of the table is metadata. Information, records is a data. So that is the difference between metadata and data, right? So clearly observe this. I'm trying to open the database here. This is different environment. This is for SQL command line environment. So clearly observe. Username, password. See here, I'm writing the select statement to get the data from DPT table. Select star from DPT. So this is the table. DPT number, D name and location. These 3 columns are completely structure of the table. Okay, the table have 3 different columns. In this table, I installed totally 5 records. 10 accounting Hyderabad, 20 research Chennai, 30 sales Chicago. All these are 5 records. So here, click DSC describing the table, DPT. So this is the metadata. Understand? So in the Power Center designer, we are working only on metadata. Based on this metadata, Power Center Workflow Manager is responsible to transfer the data from source database to target database. Okay, so based on the logic which you developed, which you created in the Power Center Designer, the Power Center Workflow Manager is responsible to move the data from source to target database. If you have any errors, then we can monitor this in the Power Center Monitor. Okay, so based on the error, we can rectify and we can find out, so clear the errors. So that is a thing here. So only as a Informatica developer, so clearly understand, as a Informatica developer, so we have to learn 3 different tools only in the Informatica client software. So those are: 1, Informatica Power Center Designer. That means here D. Okay. Second one, Workflow Manager, W. Third one, Workflow Monitor. You have to know these 3 tools only. That's enough. Okay. So coming to Informatica Power Center Designer, this particular tool also have this own different 5 different tools. Those are all. Go to Tools menu. See here, Source Analyzer. Source Analyzer is the responsible to connect any type of source database and extract the metadata from the source database. So that's it. So Source Analyzer, any type of source database. That means Oracle, Teradata, SQL Server, flat file, XML file, whatever the database type. Okay, so any type of source database. The Source Analyzer is the responsible to connect any type of source database and extracts the metadata of the source database table. Okay. And second one, Target Designer. So Target Designer is also same as the source analyzer, but the difference is data warehouse level. So Target Designer is also responsible to connect any type of target database and extracts the metadata of the target database. So source is different, target is different. Here source means OLTP, target means OLAP. That means source is a transactional database, target is a data warehouse. So don't misunderstand here. Okay. And next, third one, Transformation Developer. So Transformation Developer tool is responsible to create the transformations independently, separately, and reusable transformations. If you create any transformation in the Transformation Developer, this is the reusable transformation. So this transformation logic we can use at any other mapping or any other maplet, whatever it is. Okay. So because it is a reusable transformation, just we can drag and drop on. That's it.
Can you give an example on this particular one, Transformation Developer?
Definitely, I'll show you each and everything by example. But initially, so I want to explain what the tool, what is the purpose of the tool. Okay. So don't worry about this. And fourth one is Maplet Designer. If you don't mind, just 1 minute, I got a call. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
No problem.
And the fourth tool is Maplet Designer. So Maplet Designer and Mapping Designer, these two are used to create the mapping. But only the difference thing is, when you create the mapping in Mapping Designer, it's a independent mapping. So this is the final mapping which you have to run and which you have to move the data from source to target. Whereas in Maplet Designer, if you create any mapping, so this is the reusable maplet. So this maplet we can use the any other mapping. So that is the difference between these two. Okay. So anyway, don't worry. We can work on this completely practically. I'll show you the examples. Okay. So see here in my database, actually I don't have a 2 or more database in my system. Actually in my system, only one database is available, Oracle database. Okay. So here in my system, I have only Oracle database. This Oracle database contains different schemas. Okay. So actually, if you want to work on Informatica, you need at least 2 different data sources. One is OLTP and another one is OLAP. So based on these two, we will get the data from OLTP and we have to transform it into required warehouse format. Then finally, we should load the data in OLAP. That is the actual real-time environment. But here, I don't have any 2 different databases. That's why I have only one database, that is Oracle. In this Oracle, I created 2 different schemas. One is system schema and another one is Prasad schema. Okay. So with these 2 schemas, I use just system schema as a OLTP database. Okay, system schema as a OLTP database, and Prasad schema as a OLAP database. So with this help of these 2 data schemas, just we can work on Informatica. So we can extract the data from system schema and transform it into required warehouse format. Finally, we can load the data into Prasad schema. So this is the environment here. Okay. So clearly understand. If I install the Informatica in your system also, I can configure this type of settings in your system. Okay. Don't worry. So clearly observe this. Go to Tools menu, Source Analyzer. So Source Analyzer is the responsible to extract the metadata from source any type of database. So clearly observe this. Just you have to open the source analyzer to communicate with the source databases. Actually here we have different kind of databases in the source level. Those are notepads, Oracle database, SQL Server database, and Teradata, all these things. So mostly Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata, DB2, these are all relational database management systems. So relational databases. And XML is one different database, flat file is one different database, and we have some more databases also. So for each and every type database, there is a different way to connect the files or tables. For example, if our database is flat file, how can you connect to, or how can you open the flat file? For example, my file is stored in some D drive, Prasad folder. In that folder, I created one flat file. If you want to open the particular flat file, we have to open first D drive. Then in the particular D drive, you have to open one Prasad folder. In the Prasad folder only, you have to find some required flat file and open it. Am I right? So this is the path. So D drive Prasad folder, in that folder, the particular notepad is available. So if you know the path, then only you can open the file. Otherwise, we can't open, right?
Right.
So we can search the file also, right?
What are you saying? What was the last
You can also search. You can also search for the file. I'm going for D drive.
But that is not the direct way.
Shortcut.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if you want to open one file, if you have to know the path, then only you can open the file. But that is the way to communicate with the file in the our hard disk level, right? For example, if it is a relational database management system, if you consider Oracle database, if you want to get the table metadata from Oracle database, how can you communicate with Oracle? Directly with username and password, right? You can connect the you can connect to Oracle with username and password. Without username and password, you can't access the database, right or not?
Yeah.
Right.
So, for example, if you directly work on the database, then if you have any user ID and password, then you can directly work. So,
Yeah.
but here, what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to work on directly on Informatica. I'm trying to get the data from database through Informatica. So here, Informatica is the third-party tool, right? So, through Informatica, we are trying to connect to database and we are trying to get the data from metadata from the database. So if you want to try to connect the database through third party, you need some ODBC connections. ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. Okay, so ODBC connections. In my system, I already created the ODBC connections for each and every schema of each and every database. So based on that ODBC connections, I can communicate to database and I can provide user ID and password. I can log in the database and I can access the table metadata to Informatica level. Okay. So clearly understand. So initially you will get some confusion, but finally you will get clarity. That's not a problem here because you don't have all the tools. That's why I'm saying. So here now we want to connect to a source database and extract the metadata from source. So in this case, we have to use source analyzer tool of Power Center Designer. So I opened the source analyzer. Are you able to see here? This is the source analyzer, my mouse pointer. Okay. So go to sources menu. Here you will find different kind of sources. Clearly observe this. Import from database, whatever the database, Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata, DB2, so whatever. These are all relational database management systems. And second, import from file. File means flat file, CSV file, .dat file, all these are. So that means notepad type of files. And import from COBOL file. We have one COBOL language also. Anybody know about the COBOL language?
That's mostly for business, right?
Mostly we are using COBOL language in the mainframes level. Okay, so if our source database is mainframes, then we have to get the information from the COBOL files. So that's why there is some other option for accessing the information from COBOL files. And import XML definition. So this is other type. XML is also one of the database. We can store the information in the XML file format also. Okay, import from repository, import from PeopleSoft database, import from CBuild, so web services and Power Exchange, Salesforce, all these are different types of available databases for source or target, whatever. Okay, so in our initial example, I'm trying to get the data from my Oracle database. So Oracle is the relational database, so we have to choose import from database. Okay. So I'm clicking import from database. When you click on import from database, automatically import tables dialog box will appear. In this, see this ODBC data source. We already discussed about this. So if you want to connect to any or database through any third-party tool, so then definitely you need some ODBC connection. For this purpose, I already created. So clearly just drop down. In this, Oracle system source. This is the naming convention here. Oracle means, Oracle is the database. System is the schema. My source schema is a system. So that's why this is the source schema. That's the reason why Oracle _ system _ schema. The source is the name. Okay. Just click on this. And next, username of the system schema. Same system. And owner name, same. And password is also system in my database. So I just given the credentials, just connect, click on connect. When you click on connect, automatically it connects to database and access, it imports the entire schema here. So clearly observe this. Select the tables, expand this. System tables, expand this. Here I want a EMP table. So here this is the EMP. Just select EMP and click on OK. When you click on OK, automatically the metadata, that means table structure, is imported here. In my system, there is a table with the name EMP. So the column name should be EMP number, E name, job, MGR, hire date, SAL, commission, DP number. These are all the column names. For these column names, these are all the data types, and this is the size and length of the data types. Okay, so this is the structure of the available table in my Oracle database system schema. Understand?
Yeah.
So we can import the table from source database through this way. Understand? So I imported one table metadata from source database. Next, what I want to import from target database also, right? If you want to move the data from source to target, first of all, the minimum requirements are source table and target table, right or not?
Yeah.
So that's why I just use it to import source table from source, and next I want to import the target table from target. So clearly observe, when you import the source table, in the left side panel, just in the sources folder, under the schema name, so you'll find the EMP table, okay, in our folder. Whatever you do here, everything is visible, everything is stored in a particular folder level, okay. Next, so go to target designer, so and then go to tools menu, second target designer. So target designer is also same as source analyzer. So target designer is also responsible to import the metadata of the table from target database, whatever, data warehouse or database. So just open the target designer, go to targets menu. Here also same. See, import from database, import from file, whatever. Actually, target database is also different types. Source database is also different types, right? So based on this, we have multiple options here. So my database is relational. So import from database, ODBC. Here, Prasad target. Oracle is the database name. Prasad is a schema name. Target for my understanding purpose. So Oracle Prasad target is the ODBC name for target database, target schema. So here, Prasad managed is the password here. Connect. Already connected, but there is no tables in my Prasad schema. I did not create any tables in Prasad schema. Prasad schema is completely empty. Okay. The Prasad schema is completely empty. In this case, if you want to create the Prasad schema, if you want to create the table structure in the Prasad schema, we can create it. In general, if you want to create one table in the database level, what is the process here? You have to connect with username and password for database. After connecting the database, you have to write the query for creating the table. Create a table name, so and so column name, data type, and the second column name, data type, and third column name, so and so like this, right? When you execute the statement, then only it creates the database table. It creates the table in the database level. So that is the actual process. But here we can create the table through Informatica also in the database level. So the structure we have to define here. So actually, I'm trying to store the EMP table information in the target table. So initially, without any modifications, I want to create one same table. So if you want to create one same table, you have to design the table. So we can design manually. If you want to create the table, go to targets menu, create option is there. So from this create option, you have to specify the table name and database type and create. So and one more method is just drag the data, just drag the table structure from the left side source. We already import the source table, right? But we need the same definition. So that's why I just drag and drop here. This is the target. If you just drag and drop into target level, so this is the target table. So by default, it takes the same structure. We have to change the name of the table. So clearly, edit. Just click on right click or double click on the header. Edit. Rename this EMP underscore, for example, target table. That's why EMP underscore TGT target. Yes, okay. And database type is Oracle. These are all the column names here. So we can change the order of the columns. We can change the column name. We can add the column. We can remove the column. We can change the data type. We can change the size of the column data types. And we can assign the normal constraints. And we can give the constraints for primary key or foreign key or whatever it is. So we have different kind of options. We can customize the table as per our requirement. But initially, we don't want any changes in this table. We have to create the same structure. Okay. So in this case, just I change only table name. The rest of the thing is same. Just click on apply and OK. This is the table. Of course, I just designed in the Informatica designer, target designer. But here the requirement is we have to create this structured, this designed table in the database level Prasad schema. Then only the table is available in the Prasad schema. Then we can move the data from source or system schema to Prasad schema, right? Right now there is no Prasad, there is no table in the Prasad schema. So that's why I designed here. Once the design is completed, then we have to generate and execute the statement in the database level irrespective of this particular designed table. Okay, so clearly observe this. Go to targets menu, last option, generate and execute SQL. That means it generates the query, SQL query in the database level and execute this query in the database Prasad schema. If the statement is executed, if the query is executed, then the table will create, right? So just click on generate and execute. So generate and execute. Automatically, so database object generation screen will appear. Here, not connected to database. If you want to generate one query and execute this into database level, initially you have to connect to database. So if you want to connect to database, you need to provide some ODBC connection, user ID and password. For this purpose, just go to connect option. Just click on connect. You have to specify the target ODBC name and username and manager is the password. Click on connect. So our Informatica is connected to target database. Generate from all tables and selected table. Actually, we can design at a time number of tables in the target designer. If you design number of tables, we can generate for all the tables. We can generate the query for all the tables at a time. Or else, if you want to select some more tables only, then you can select some tables and we can generate the query for these selected tables. That's the purpose. Here we have two options. Of course, we have only one design table in the backend. So here, generate option, create a table. No need to primary key and foreign keys. Just create a table. And next, go to generate and execute. Just click on generate and execute. When you click on generate and execute, in the bottom level output window, there is a query here. Clearly observe this. Create table name, EMP number, column name, data type, not null, E name, column name, data type. These are all the different columns, right? So based on the designed table, it generated one query and executed. Select a statement processed. That means executed in the database level. That means table is created in the database. If you want to see the table, I will show you here. CONN Prasad Manager. So I connected to select from tab. In the previous, there is no table in the Prasad schema, but now select when you retrieve this emp underscore TZT. This is the table type, table. So table is created. See here, DESC emp underscore TZT. This is the structure of the table. Right?
Yeah.
Are you able to understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I imported one metadata from source database. I designed one table in the target designer and I generated the query and executed it in database level through target designer. So we have a table in source and target designers both, right? So source and target tables both are available. Then what is the next process? If you want to move the data from source to target, what is the next process? Clearly observe this. I want to write the statement to retrieve the data in the database. Select star emp underscore TZT. See, clearly observe. No row selected. Because we just created the table. There is no data. We have to move the data from source to emp table to target emp underscore TZT table. Okay. In this case, we imported the source and we designed the target table also. So we have source and target tables are available. So right now we want to move the data from source to target through Informatica. So in this case, we have to create one mapping logic. Of course, without any logic, we want to move the data initially. So for this purpose, we have to create one mapping. So go to Tools menu, Mapping Designer. Click on Mapping Designer. This is the Mapping Designer. We have to create one mapping here. So go to Mappings menu, Create. It asks about name. So naming convention, this is a mapping. So map underscore for emp table. So just TGT. This is the mapping name. Map underscore emp underscore TGT. Right. So mapping is created. Okay. Very simple. From left side panel, just drag the source table and target tables. I just drag and drop the source and target tables. When you drag and drop source and target tables, along with source table, there is a source qualifier transformation. Clearly observe this. This is the source qualifier transformation, middle one. Along with source table only, it is created. The purpose of this is to understand the source database data types. Source database data. Actually, clearly observe this. In the source table, EMP in bracket Oracle, because this is the Oracle table. In the target table also EMP underscore TGT in the bracket Oracle, because this is a Oracle database table. But in the middle transformation, SQ underscore EMP is the name. This is the source qualifier transformation. So this transformation is directly generated by the Informatica Power Center designer. This is always along with the source database because it is used to understand the source data. For example, source database type is different, Informatica type is different, target database type is different, but we have to move the data from source to target. So based on the data source and data targets, the data types are different. For example, if source database is a Oracle data types are different. If target database is a Teradata data types are different. So when you consider the number type, in the Oracle you have to use number is the data type. In the SQL Server you have to use INT, integer is the data type. So there is a lot of difference, but both are used to accept only numeric information. So that is the reason why we have to understand the source information when you import it into the ETL level. So that is the purpose. Here SQL source qualified transmission is always generates along with the source definition. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. From here onwards, just see, we have to map each and every column to target table. I just selected all the columns and copy, drag and drop, just here like that, drag and drop. This is the way. Understand? This is the way.
What if we don't want
Yeah.
to copy all of them to the target table? Like suppose I don't want the hire date and
So for example,
You can right
the
click
copy.
on that particular line and right click on that particular
Yeah.
line from hire date to hire date and then just undo. You can
Yeah.
selectively select.
Right click, select all. Automatically, all the fields are selected. Okay. For example, if you want to one by one, just click on it. Clearly observe my mouse pointer where it
Yeah.
is before the name, right? So from here only you have to drag, and from here at here only you have to just drop it. Understand? Here, from here and to here, from here and to here. Okay.
okay.
So likewise, we can add all this thing. For example, if you want to, here actually the order of the columns and column names, corresponding data types, everything is same. That's the reason why I'm selecting select all at a time and copy. So automatically they are mapping with corresponding columns, EMP number to EMP number, ename to ename, job to job, this type. For example, the order of the column is different, then we have to use the mapping from each and every column level, okay, separately. So that is the thing you have to understand here. Now, so mapping is also created successfully. Now I want to save this mapping. Without save, the changes made doesn't happen to repository level. So that's why you have to save the each and every object. So we have to save this, just save. We can save through Control S, or else go to the repository and here also save option. Okay, so whatever. So already saved. So if it is saved, you can see this in the output window. So here clearly observe this message. Mapping, map underscore EMP underscore TGT is valid. The valid message means without any errors, the mapping is successful. That's it. If the mapping is unsuccessful, then mapping is invalid. Of course, we can save the mapping, but it is with invalid mapping. Okay. So clearly, mapping is also completed. Clearly observe, we already discussed this. In the Power Center Designer, we only work on metadata, not on data. Understand? See here, column names, data types, sizes, but there is no data. This is the metadata, right or not?
Yeah.
Right. So we can show it in iconic wise. Arrange all icon. You can see like this. If you want to arrange, expand this, arrange all. We can see like this. Okay. So whatever, it's not a problem. And now we have to run this mapping to move the data from source to target. We have to run this mapping to move the data from source to target. When you run this mapping to move the data, so it is the EMP number column data goes to EMP number column in the Informatica. From here, it is goes to EMP number column in the target table. Based on this links only, the data will move. Clearly observe this. Okay. Right. Go to Workflow Manager. Workflow Manager is only the responsible to move the data. Okay. So go to Workflow Manager. So click on W. When you click on W, automatically Workflow Manager window will open. See, this is the workflow manager tool. Okay. So, in this workflow manager tool, there is different sub-tools of this workflow, this particular tool. So those are all task developer, worklet designer, workflow designer. So right now we are only using workflow designer to create one workflow. When you run the workflow, then only the data will move from source to target. We will discuss about task developer and worklet designer later on classes. Okay. So go to workflow designer, create one new workflow. The workflow name WF_MP_TGT. Click on OK. So when you create one new workflow, automatically the start task is created. Start is the task to start workflow. Okay. So when you run the workflow starts from the start task itself. So that is the purpose. The start task will create automatically. And next, actually the purpose is we have to run the mapping, which is created in designer level, this mapping. If you want to run the mapping, we cannot directly run this. We can associate this mapping to any session in the workflow level. So session is only the responsible to run the mapping. So session only will create, associate with the mapping only. Okay. So session is the task. So go to task menu, create task, so session. So we can select multiple tasks here. Number of tasks are available. So go to session and enter the name for this. Click on create, then automatically task will be created. This is one method. And another method is, this is the task menu. Clearly observe my mouse pointer. This is the task menu. In this, there is different number of icons. Each icon is one different task. So we have to create the session task here. For the session task, this is the session. Just click on session task. Sorry. You click on session task and just anywhere you click on this workflow designer. When you click on this workflow designer, it automatically asks about mapping to associate with it. So we have only one mapping in this folder. So this is the mapping. It will show all available mappings. So among these we have to select. So map_MB_TGT and click on OK. When you select the mapping, automatically with the mapping name, S_ with mapping name, the session will create. This is the session here. So if you create the session, it is asking about association with any mapping. So when you select the mapping, the session will create associated with one mapping. Understand? So here we have to link up these two sessions by link task. This is the link task. Just click on link task and drag and drop from start to clearly observe.
Yeah.
We have to drag and drop from start to session only, not from the session to task start. Understand? Because start is the origin point. From here only we can start the workflow. Understand? So that is the thing here. And here, if you run the session, then the session is the responsible to run the mapping. The mapping is associated in the session level. When you run the session, automatically the mapping will run. If the mapping starts the running, the data will move from source to target database. If you want to run this session, you have to specify the source database connection and target database connection. Then only by using these source database and target database connections, the session goes to connect to source database and extract the data from source, and through the mapping logic, the data is moved and finally go to target database, connect to target through target ODBC connection and load the data into target database. For this purpose, you have to edit the session. Go to mapping, fourth tab, go to mapping tab. In this tab, under the source folder, you have to select the source type. So when you select the source, automatically clearly observe this, readers, relational reader, connections, ODBC connections and properties for this. Okay, we will discuss about readers and connections, properties, all these things. Right now, just connections we have to specify. So for source table, we have to specify the source schema ODBC. So just to click on this icon. When you click on this, our all connections appear here. For sources table, Oracle system source is the connection. Just select, click on OK, and then go to targets table, and here Oracle Prasad target. Click on this and OK. So source and target ODBC connections are specified. Then click apply. OK. So connections is also specified here. We have to save the workflow. I saved it. So clearly observe output window. Workflow is valid. So workflow is valid. That means successfully without any errors we created one workflow. Now we have to run this workflow. When you run this workflow, the start task is the responsible to start the entire workflow. So from the start task only the workflow will start. So for this purpose, start, we connected the link from start task to session. So start task will start this session. When the session is started, automatically with the help of source and target ODBC connections, it gets the data from source and transform through mapping logic and finally load it into target level. So that is the thing you have to understand. So clearly go to workflows window menu, start workflow, click on start workflow. When you click on start workflow, automatically workflow is will start. Here, hello access. This is the first time for this purpose. See, we have to connect it to repository. So just select the repository, click on this. Username is administrator and password is also same. Connect. So we have to connect to integration service also. Just connect it. When you connect this, yeah, folder is open. Clearly observe. Succeeded, the status, you have to observe the status. Succeeded. Succeeded means successfully move the data from source to target without any errors. If you want to see the data in the target database, we have two different ways. One is through Power Center Designer, mapping designer or whatever the designer, target designer. So go to target table, select right click, preview data. When you click preview data, automatically the preview data dialog box will open. Select the target table and email name, password, username, or connect. This is the information available in the target table. And I'll show you one more method. Directly just go to database and open the database. I will execute the previous statement. Clearly observe, select star from emp underscore tgt. A few minutes back we executed, there is no records. Now I am executing, there is records. Understand?
Yes.
These are the records. Understand? Any
Yeah.
doubts?
No.
It feels like quite a process, but if you can show us more examples, I guess we'll get used to it.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first example. Definitely, you are stranger for Informatica, work on Informatica. So that's the reason I think you 100% didn't get the clarity, but somewhat you understand. I thought that, right?
Dad, I have a question. So I over here in the window I see there are 3 records. Are those the new records? Oh, you just changed the screen. The SQL
No, no. This is the different environment SQL. Actually, we can open the database in the through the browser, and we can open it through command line also.
yeah.
So
No, I'm not
environment.
saying that. I'm saying that, here we when we first run the command at that time we never had any records, right? Now it is showing us all the records.
Right, right.
And then it is showing these 2 sections over here, right? Like first it is showing like 10 or 12 records, and then the last 3, they're total 14. So 11 records first, and then there are 3 records. So why is it that the same? Why is it showing the?
Uh,
What is the
yeah,
difference
nothing.
between?
Nothing. Actually, this is the buffer based on the buffer size. It will show. For example, with you have totally see clearly. You have totally 1,000 records in the table. Okay. So when our window is very short. Actually, it will display at a time from the top to bottom in our window most probably 15 to 30 records, 30 records max, 30 or 40 records. Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's why it will
See,
show less.
for example, in this screen, our you can see only 6 records, right? Actually, it retrieves 14 records. So remaining 8 records in the top of the screen, right?
Yeah.
So how can you know the column names of the screen? Each and every column.
Oh, okay.
So for this
Got
purpose,
it.
it will display each and every 11 records. It will display the column names. That's the thing. That is only. No need to consider this.
Oh, okay. No,
This
I
is
was
only available
confused.
in this
I
particular
thought that
environment.
you have something called first time when you add the records, you see that, and then whatever the new records are there, will give you. I thought it that way.
No. So for example, see, go to database homepage. So when you click on go to database homepage, it automatically redirects to through web browser. Okay. So
Right.
clearly observe this. I'll show you the same example in this environment. See, system username, system is the password. You go to SQL commands. Click here, select from DLP. Right. See here. Did you find the difference?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. There is no difference between these two environments, but only working environment is different. We can, this is only, it provides UI, user interface.
Yeah.
So we can use the mouse operation to all these things. It is very easy to work.
Right.
But here, we can write only through statements. We can't work through any mouse pointer. It doesn't work here. That's the difference only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you have any doubt, please ask. Any doubts, please ask.
I just need to practice this.
Okay.
Prasad, this source, the middle icon over here, one is target, one is employee table name from this, that is source, that is target, and that is a source analyzer, right? So could we have more than two source analyzer in between? So the middle table, what is it called again? Sorry.
Depends on source qualifier. Source qualifier.
Qualifier, right? So
Yeah, this is
is
the
there a
transformation.
possibility to have more than two source qualifiers?
Yeah, of course. For example, your source tables are more than one, then you will get more than one source qualifier. For each and every source table, you will get one source qualifier.
Okay. So there could be a possibility
We
where one is Oracle.
wait. We
Okay,
already discussed the data warehousing concepts level,
right,
data merging concept. So based on data merging concept, we can combine the multiple tables information and we can store it into single data warehouse table, right?
right.
For this purpose, we have to get multiple tables in the mapping, and we have to move the old table information into single target table, right?
Right.
So when you extract the source, so when you copy the table from the source analyzer, from the sources folder, automatically along with this you will get your one source qualifier also for each and every source table. If you
Okay.
copy two tables, then you will get two source qualifier. That's it. Okay.
Okay, got it.
You know, one more time. Tell me if you have any doubts.
So far, no. Don't have any
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
I stopped the class here today because if I explain one more example, definitely you will confuse because this is the first class we have on Informatica.
Okay.
So don't worry. So what do we know? What do you want more from my side? Actually, installation is remaining, right? So,
Yes.
first of all, Ketki,
Yeah.